Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's video I'm going to be attempting to change out my shifter knob. They both appear to be relatively the same size. Mine's a push button, so you got to push this button if you want to so if you're ever doing an automatic, you have to make sure the one you replace it with is also a push button. Let's get that up. Get this back. I've never done this car. Let's see, this piece doesn't come off too well. So there's this third piece. I'm thinking this has to come out right here, this black piece. But I'm going to try to pry at it, see what happens. Hopefully that's the piece that needs to come out. But we're going to put the car in neutral. And let's see what happens. Something pretty good. Piece definitely getting in there. Okay, so what I had to do, it was that piece. You just heard that clicks in. So it was this piece, right here, and it has these two little things inside. I actually broke mine right up here because I got the pry initially pop out like this, and I thought to just keep prying out like this. You can't do that because this is inside. So once you get this to pop out a little bit, you got to start pulling up on it. And when you do, this piece and this will pop out, so it comes up and out. It seems like very cheap plastic that's just going to break on you. And then, like I said, this thing will still seem like it's on there, but if you just even take your finger, let's see if I can show you guys. And I just pry on each end. I just pull my fingers, pull it out a little, and then push down. Drops right down. And then, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. There's screws. One's there. One's right here. They're Phillips head, it looks like. So that's going to be the next step. I'm going to unscrew those, pop this off, and then we'll get to doing the next part of this install. Okay. So once you have those two screws out, like I said, this slides right off and reveals the selector switch. These were the size of the screws, so they're not that big. And they're just in there pressed against the shaft. You can see where it actually goes into the shaft, threads in. So the next thing for the shift knob I purchased, the directions call for this to for me to measure this out, to put an adapter on, and then what type of screws to use to put this in. So I'm going to look at that now, and then we'll get to the next part of the video. Okay, So for the next step, calls for measuring out the shaft in millimeters. So here we are at 13.94 roughly, 13.85. 13.82 is the final one. And that's going to tell us what adapter to use and what type of screws to use. Okay, so this calls for, if it's a certain diameter, to use either larger hex screws or smaller ones. I used one larger one, and I lined up, this particular shift knob has 3 holes in it. So I lined this first hole up with one of the pre-made holes in here, and it fit in pretty nice. It's not really moving that much, but now we're going to put in the other 2, and that should finish securing this to the shifter. Even more secure now. And just gonna do the 3rd hole. Now I'm just snugging them up. Once again, just till it goes tight. And boom. Bring the collar up. Wants to come up. So sweaty right now. And now, perfectly new functioning shift knob. Turn this on. Down the parking brake. And there we go. Like I said, it doesn't move, no play, and just for a quick little. Okay, so as you can see, we're backing up. So not terribly bad. You just got to be confident in what you're doing, and honestly, the cheap plastic that Honda used, that clip, I would say almost every time that this is it's gonna break. I mean, if you get it off without breaking it, that's good for you, but I just personally felt like every single time I mess with those stupid clips, it never works out. They always snap on me. That's why just make sure what you pick. Be careful what you pick. Make sure it's right for your car. As I said before, you want to make sure that you have if you have a push button shift knob, you have to replace it with a push button shift knob. This was about $100 off of a website called Car ID. Like I said, I really like it. It's performing beautifully. Looks much more aesthetically pleasing than the cheap plastic that Honda said premium metal like handle. I mean, this was a little stronger than the stupid clip, but I mean, this is just cheap plastic. And then, I mean, I don't know, there's not any style to this at all. I mean, for the little bit amount of money Honda could have put into it to give the car a little bit more style and class, I don't see why they cheaped out. But now I got a leather shift knob that matches the interior. Looks great, looks amazing, functions great. The only thing I did not use in it were these things. I tried to go the right size, and it was causing the shift knob to not want to shift. So I just looked inside. It's just metal on plastic. That little part there is plastic. So, and then it's hard to see on this. That's metal in there. So, I mean, Honda was using metal on plastic too. So I just forgo the stupid thing, and I just put the shift knob in plain, and it worked just fine. Alright everyone, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. It definitely helps. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Something else I'd like to add to the video, I found out only after I closed out the video. I took my car, put it in park, and when I went to take my keys out, it wouldn't go to this position. It would stop here. Would not leave the accessory. I couldn't pull my key out. The problem was that this was just a little too far down, and even though it was able to lock in position, and I was able to shift, as you saw throughout the whole video, and I was driving around back and forth in the parking lot, going in and out of my parking space, it was still too much depressed, and Honda had some kind of safety thing where it wouldn't let you pull out your key. So be mindful of that if you do an install like this, that don't let it go too far down, otherwise it's not gonna let you take your key out. So just one extra bit of information I found out and thought I'd share with you guys. Thanks.